Hello Soul Family, welcome to Alchemy Mystic Healing Messages. In this reading, we will be looking into shadow attributes that you may be struggling with in one or more aspects of your life. The objective of this reading is to provide you with insight into where you may need to focus your self-improvement journey at this time. Keep in mind that this is a collective message, so it will not be for any specific zodiac sign. This is also a timeless reading, so whenever this message finds you is when you are meant to receive it. Please utilize your discernment and only take the messages that resonate with you. If you are in need of any additional assistance or support on your spiritual healing and or self-improvement journeys, I am also available for distant Reiki Therapy services. If you would like to learn more about Reiki Therapy, how it may benefit you, and details on the services I provide, all of that information can be found on the channel's community tab. If you stick around to the end of the message, I will let you know how you can receive a free Clear Ground Protect 20-minute distant Reiki therapy session. Alright you guys, let's see what kind of healing messages the universe has for us today. For the shadow work oracle message, we have shame. You are not flawed. You are so worthy of love and belonging. Forgive yourself for not giving yourself enough self-love. Alright? And this is right under the rose quartz, which is definitely about self-love. We have the Three of Swords coming out first with a heart on it. Also speaking to this kind of love energy. It is Libra energy. It's telling me that we have the Three of Cups coming out. Cancer energy. It's telling me that within your close relationship dynamics, the thoughts that you had surrounding how those relationships should go, what those individuals should be giving, even what should be expected of you, there was something that you chose to agree to that ended up not serving you, right? I have said in a prior video that the Three of Cups for me is more so about agreements. It is not necessarily love or partnership from a heart space. It is about what we were taught to believe about our close relationships, right? It is usually a reflection of what has been modeled to us, or the environment that we grew up in. But there was something about this relationship dynamic that did not allow you to be as authentic as you wanted to be. And so you went into an agreement with a person or a group of people about how you should conduct your relationship and what is expected of you, not just in the context of the relationship, but even more so how you should present yourself and carry yourself outside of the relationship. And whatever these constraints were, didn't allow for the fullness of your authenticity and the fullness of your truth. And because you thought with this Three of Swords being here that this would give you a sense of, this is too many cards, a sense of love and belonging, you went along with this situation, not realizing that it was still going to end with you being disappointed, right? Because in doing that, in making that sacrifice, in being self-sacrificing, we don't just self-sacrifice for no reason. We do it because when we're in a situation that we expect these individuals to show up in, we expect them to be there, right? When we are feeling down, when we have a breakup, I'm getting more so of a friendship than a romantic dynamic, right? But when we are in these various spaces of our lives where we are wanting support, we want these individuals to show up for us. And it seems as if even with all that you had done to sacrifice who you were to fit within this relationship dynamic, this group, to have this sense of belonging, you still ended up disappointed. They still ended up not showing up for you. And so now we have the Nine of Cups energy, Pisces, and the Emperor Aries. With this Pisces energy, it's telling me that you have found, or you are seeking, a level of self-love You are no longer looking to this group to give you what you had the capacity to give yourself all this time, which is love, which is a sense of belonging, right? At the point in which I decide to deny aspects of myself for someone else, I am not showing love to myself. And if I am in a vibration where I am not even loving myself by accepting myself for who I am, how I am, then how can I expect that of anyone else, right? The Emperor energy, there's something powerful about this shift, right? It allowed you to take control over your life in some way, fashion, or form. It allowed you to, once we step into our truth and our fullness from a heart space, we align with the abundance that is aligned with our truth. And I think that may have been what this Emperor energy is. It is also about taking control over one's life, but I sometimes see that as King of Wands energy. So for this to be Emperor energy, it means that this may have been the last piece of the puzzle for you to step into Emperor energy. Maybe you had already mastered, the King of Pentacles, the King of Wands, the King of Swords, and the last piece was maybe the King of Cups. We have the Hermit coming out, which is Virgo energy. I think this is the first Earth energy, other than the fact that the Emperor encompasses the King of Pentacles. But aside from that, this is the first Earth energy that is coming out. You had to look within to see how you were attracting these dynamics. We have the Strength card, Leo energy. You had to have the inner strength to face your shame, is what I'm getting. Right? It's one thing for shame to be within me and for people to utilize it against me, right? For them to know, especially if they broke your heart. If people broke your heart and you were bending or shifting who you were to satisfy their ideals and their idea of what was right and true, it lets me know that the shame was unspoken. It wasn't outright, but it was understood. Even though no one spoke about it, it was definitely understood, right? At the point in which you draw back your energy with this Hermit being here, right? Could be about isolation, could be about ghosting people, but I'm feeling it right now as drawing back your energy, interacting less, responding less, not, showing up to all the events and wanting to be in the mix of everything. At that point, you are opening the door for those within this group to verbalize the shame that has not been verbalized to this point, right? It is at that point that they start to say the things that they didn't say before, that that they felt, but it was unspoken. And as long as it was unspoken, it was okay to tolerate the situation, right? So if there is because within the Hermit is the Star, and Star is Aquarius energy. The Star is about being unique, right? It is about your more unique attributes. So it even caused them to put a spotlight on how you were different, which is where you connected to your shame. So this is an easy one. I don't know why it's coming to mind, right? So let's say you were in a group of people who were all of the same race, and you were mixed race, but you grew up around these individuals and you have always been around them since you were younger, but you felt some level of subconscious shame around maybe the other side, maybe the parent who isn't of this culture or this race isn't around, maybe they abandon your family, right? There might be something to it, and it may even be something that people say, well, that's so stereotypical, or, there's something about it where they were like, they didn't say it before, but they treated you in that manner before. There were certain nuances to your dynamic that let you know how they felt about it, but it was for you to have the strength to say either, I'm not going to tolerate this. I'm going to tap into my self-love. I don't need to belong to this group that much. I'm willing to spend time by myself, even if I'm surrounded by these individuals, and spend that time until I find someone who is willing to connect with me at that deeper level and accept me as I am. But as I was saying before, once you started to pull back, that's when they started to verbalize and say things that would hurt you, with these swords being in the heart, right? They already knew what would hurt and what would trigger you, what would trigger pain within you. They knew it was a tender spot that you were having to deal with. So you understood that with this strength energy, it was going to require you to withstand a certain level of maybe a verbal beating, right? An emotional beating. And I don't know why I'm using the word beating. And I guess it's because it's intentional, right? The intention was to hurt you. But once we step into our authenticity and don't have a problem embracing who we are, I did say something about the King of Wands. It definitely came out, Leo energy, right? Once we step into it, people can no longer utilize it against us. We have the Eight of Cups energy, Pisces energy, which is what leads to the Nine of Cups. So at some point you came to the realization that this was no longer fulfilling, or that is maybe where you are at this time, recognizing what is no longer fulfilling. We have the Devil energy out here, Capricorn energy, as well as the Five of Pentacles, Taurus energy. You stayed attached to the situation. It may have been a codependency, right? You stayed attached to the situation because you wanted to avoid being left out in the cold. You wanted to avoid being isolated, them doing the isolating of you, as opposed to you isolating yourself. Maybe even this Hermit is about them isolating you, and you needing to find your inner strength at that time. Either situation or scenario may come about, either you pulling back first and them lashing out at you, or them simply choosing at some point to lash out at you and you having to find the inner strength to face your shame at that point. And I think that the situation happened, however it happened with the intention of getting you to face that shame, because like I said before, once you face it and choose to embody it, right? Once you take it on and say, all right, this is what I feel shame about. Why do I feel it? How do I work past it? How do I embrace the aspects of myself that other people may not be comfortable with, but is innate to me? And with that, you can now diffuse their power. You can now disempower them. I'm even getting Seven of Swords energy when you take those swords so that they can't fight you with them, is what I'm getting. Right? Your words no longer hurt me because I've come to terms with who I am. And so even in this Devil being next to the Five of Pentacles, maybe it is you leaving them out in the cold. Let's get one more card for this Emperor with this Five of Pentacles. But I definitely see you detaching from this Devil energy, from this codependency, from this need to be around people, maybe because you don't want to face your inner demons. You may have had abandonment issues. You may have been in a situation, maybe as a child, maybe even as an adult, depending on where you are in your journey. where a paternal figure may have abandoned your family. I did kind of allude to that earlier. It could also be where you may have been in a marriage and the masculine energy suddenly filed for divorce without much explanation, without, you not really understanding what went wrong or where it went wrong, and them never truly expressing a reason for leaving. And I feel like this dynamic, whatever this friendship was to help you work through that pain, was to help you work through that abandonment or feelings of abandonment that you may have had shame surrounding. So maybe even you may have been, if this is having to do with a paternal figure, you may have been one of very few people in your community who grew up without their father or paternal figure around. You may have been one of many people in a community, or very few people, I should say, in a community who had their husbands suddenly leave, right? Maybe you're in a community where there are a lot of families. And so being a part of this group was about filling a void with this devil energy. And in filling that void, or filling the need to fill that void, you may have wanted to become whatever they needed you to become, to be a part of that group, of that friendship, of that knitting class, for all I care, right? But there came a point where they did the same thing, maybe in a different manner, but they did the same thing that this individual did. And so it kind of twists the knives in your heart all over again, which forced you to have to go within to figure out how to not pacify the situation, but how to strengthen yourself from the situation. So it had to do with the fact that the lesson had not been learned the first time around, right? The first time around, it was requiring you to go within, to strengthen yourself internally. And because that did not transpire, something else came around that was a reflection of that, so that you could go within and recognize what was not fulfilling you, and even recognizing that it was a lack of self-love. Alright, you guys, this is what I have for you today. If you resonate with this message, were able to obtain any clarity, or found it to be helpful in any other manner, please like, share, subscribe, and feel free to share your story in the comment section. These expressions of gratitude are not only free for you, but they also allow me to develop a deeper connection to your energy. With this deeper connection, I am able to pull messages that are more aligned with your specific situation. I want to thank you guys for being here, and as promised, I have a quick message letting you know how you can receive a free Clear Ground Protect 20-minute distant Reiki therapy session. I hope to see you again soon. Namaste.
If you look in the description box below, the first link is labeled Free Reiki for the Soul Family. When you select it, it will take you to the Alchemy Mystic shop, where you can either obtain the free 20-minute distant Reiki session or purchase one of the 40-minute distant Reiki sessions at a 30% discount. I will be making a total of 11 free sessions available on Tuesday of each week for the next 4 weeks. When checking out, it will ask how much you would like to pay. You may enter $0 or a higher amount if you would like to provide a tip. The Clear Ground Protect 20-minute session works best as a spiritual hygiene practice for anyone obtaining or providing spiritual services, such as private tarot card readings. This is great for empaths who may take on the negative energy of those around them. This is for anyone who works in a toxic environment or an environment that involves high levels of customer interaction that ends up leaving you feeling drained. And last but not least, this is great for anyone struggling with anxiety, depression, feelings of overwhelm, and/or low energy. This service is performed remotely at the date and time that you schedule your appointment. The service can be performed while you are conducting your everyday activities, with the exception of operating a vehicle or any heavy machinery. I look forward to serving you soon.